Uresti. Coach, thank you for being here with us this afternoon for our 5 o'clock show. Good to have you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me. Enjoy watching you guys in the other interviews and just want to be part of it.
Awesome, Coach. We really appreciate that. We know it's trying times for everybody, so we like to get some content out there. People will get their minds off it a little bit. But staying in that same vein of things, how you been during the summer and during the last few months? I know it's everybody's coping in different ways, and definitely coaches and teachers and whatnot. People involved with schools, definitely an up and down time for them. How have you been dealing, and how have things been with you?
Things are going good. Thankful that my family is doing just fine through this pandemic. As for work, trying to do what I can with the minimal, contact with our kids. We have some Zoom meetings, Zoom workouts, same thing with the coaches. I have been able to go to work Monday through Thursday for the majority of the summer. So that helps to kind of give me some sense of normalcy in these times, these trying times. But things are going good right now. Trying to get the kids fired up about the season that's about to come up. And, things are looking in the up and up now.
Yeah, I know you had a couple of kids, out there, and I know BISD did a really good job whenever they did open the strength and conditioning. I know all the coaches. I had a couple of coaches on here, and I know Coach Leal was really adamant about doing everything good and for the safety of all the kids, and a lot of good turnout and everything. Just unfortunately, how things go, ever changing. But I know BISD was one of those schools, doing their best to try to get us back to some normalcy. But yeah, Coach, just how are some of the kids? I know there's a couple of kids probably involved with 7-on-7 sporadically here and there. I know Kevin, your quarterback, was involved in Team Zap. I know he played quite extensively. So I mean, have you seen a lot of your kids, keeping busy?
Yeah, we try to keep in contact with the majority of them, and we've done a good job as a staff to just keep tabs on kids and making sure you're staying active. We have kids at work, kids that either work around the house or having to join their dad at work or just getting jobs on their own. So they are staying busy, whether it's football or just trying to stay active in some ways. Kevin is one of the few kids that has been part of 7-on-7 with Team Zap, like you mentioned. They had him playing slot receiver, which is something that I know he enjoyed. Kevin's a kid that's probably looking to play at the next level after his senior year, and I think he does have a great chance to get his scholarship and play at the next level. So he's just trying different positions, and he took advantage of the opportunity. And I, from what I hear, and the little that I did watch him play, he did extremely well at that position. I started getting phone calls and getting asked if he's going to be moving positions, and I said, not that I know of, not yet. But no, we're doing a good job keeping tabs of our kids and just trying to stay on top of them and just preaching to stay active and when they're available to join our Zoom workouts. And if now we're understanding, so long as we understand or we know where they're at. But like you mentioned earlier, when we did open up with BISD, we have one feeder program at Porter High School. And we had a total of 6 workouts. We went a week and a day. And we had over 100 football kids out there in 4 out of the 6 days. So it was very exciting to see that. The turnout was there. The hunger for the kids was there. So I know they're just waiting to get cleared to allow to come back on campus and start practicing with us.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And, we'll get to more on Kevin Garcia in a little bit. Here on the back end of the show, we'll talk about your Cowboys personally. But let's talk about the district, District 16 5A, Division I, Coach. That the last couple of years, that's been lauded as a very competitive district, especially with the 10 teams. Another big district again with the realignment. Going to get even tougher. You have Wesco East. You have the McAllens moving in. There's going to be a lot of definite competition, but it's changed a little bit. They moved into zone play, and now it seems like the Brownsvilles are along with Wesco East, are in one zone, and
correct.
The McAllens and everybody else on the other part of the valley are in their own zone. Did I get the zones correct? It's Brownsville.
Yes,
Wesco,
yes.
Everybody else.
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right. In my opinion, right, and being part of the district, I think it's the toughest district in the valley. And then we did go into a split And from the outside looking in, people that don't know, that are just joining, they don't understand it. It's an even split. I was asked, hey, do you think you fared well? I said, as well as I could have been on the other side, it wouldn't have mattered. I think it's a very balanced district. You see the 4 Brownsville schools and West Lake East on one side. We had the 3 McAllen schools and West Lake East join our district. That's 4 different teams, and 3 of those teams were in the playoffs the previous year. Mm-hmm. On our zone, like you mentioned, we have West Lake East, Pace, Veterans, Lopez, and Porter. And this West Lake East is a tough team. District champs, they're 3 deep every year in, year out. Coach Burgett does a great job over there. Coach Pardo, he's coming up on his 4th year. He got hired the same spring that I got hired, and all he's done is win. And he's made the playoffs 3 years in a row. And then we got Coach Cantu over at Vets, who did a phenomenal job over there, year in, year out, always vying for a playoff spot or district title. And then you got us in Lopez, and Coach Gutierrez is doing a good job coming up on his 3rd year. And we're rebuilding and coming up. I mean, to me, it's an even district. I think it's a super tough district. Whether we were split or not, we were going to have our hands full. I don't think it's any different with the split in zones, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know a lot of people I know schools and districts are right now trying to scramble to figure out what they're going to do. And yes, that is I'm glad you mentioned that. It's a very even split district. I've seen some other zone splits and some of the smaller schools with smaller districts, splitting into zones with 5 to 6 teams. So, and some of those, it's hard to get a very good split. But in this case, I feel that even a couple of years ago, whenever they did form the original team district, it kind of just felt like zone play was always something that maybe you guys always considered. Now you guys kind of are forced to do it. So, correct. I mean, what's the reaction for all the coaches throughout the district dealing with it?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that we were 100% set on doing the split. We were trying to do what was best for our student athletes, and we're trying to get them as many games as possible. But with so many questions still up in the air, we have an idea of when we're going to come back, but nothing's been finalized. We're still hopeful that everything works out. So we wanted to make sure we could guarantee the district games in. And the only way we could do that is by splitting it in the middle and going 5-5. And at that, after doing that, it really just gives us 1 extra game, 1 non-district game. So once we get started, I mean, every game counts. If you're ever to buffer a non-district game, and now you're going to have a scrimmage and you go straight into district. So, yeah, we're preaching that to the kids. That goes back to keeping tabs on the kids, letting them know how important it is to stay active and stay in somewhat shape as much as you can until we're able to get our hands on our kids and get them going on campus.
Yeah. For some people who don't understand how the zoning works, there's going to be a couple of weeks where you have playing games and some seeding games. Just kind of break it down for us, Coach. How is it going to work for you guys in particular?
Correct. So for us, pretty much we have 6 weeks for our district games in. We have 5 weeks for our zone games. There's 5 teams on each side. Mm-hmm. So I so happen to draw the straw. I mean I drew the last week. So pretty much I'm going to have 4 straight games. And then I have my bye week at the end before viewing for a playoff spot by going up against the other side of the zone. So we'll play 4 district games. We'll have a bye week. And then the top 3 on each side of their zone, they'll play each other to see who makes the playoffs. So the 2 top ones will play each other, and they're just vying for a district title and second place. And then the second player in our zone will play the 3rd place in their zone for a chance of the playoff spot. And same thing with our 3rd place playing against their second spot. Winners go to the playoffs. It's that simple. So it's exciting for the kids knowing that 3 out of the 5 teams in our zone will have the opportunity to make the playoffs. And in reality, if you do make the playoffs, you're getting a little playoff atmosphere game right before the playoffs actually start. So it's exciting for the kids and for everyone involved to know how crucial and how important each single game is for us.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be interesting because now you have instead for 4 by record, you're going to have a de facto district championship game. No matter what, you're going to have a playing game. So it seems like even throughout these trying times, and it's a necessity. It kind of just seems like the right teams are gonna make their way in there. So the better team's gonna go in there. Probably won't have to matter. Of course, record's gonna matter, but you know what I'm saying. Teams are gonna fight for it and put it in their own hands, and that's good stuff there. It's gonna make for great football.
Correct, and that's what we wanted. We just wanted to be, I guess, as fair as possible. Again, going with what we were forced to do and how we could work it out. I think the top 3 teams on either side of the zone are going to be competitive teams anyway. So I think either side can represent our district very well moving into the playoffs. So it's exciting as a coach and more so as a student, to know that every game's it's kind of, I was talking to the kids about it, when you talk about a 10-team district, you preach the same exact thing because you say every game's important. You start out with such a big district that you're going to play 9 games. And you can't afford to lose early on because now you're playing catch up. And in this case, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a shorter format. Every game's just as important for the same reason now. Every game counts because there's so few games to play.
Yeah, and it seems like the last couple of years, you guys have definitely had a lot of experience playing in these games because you've seen it. You've seen for instance, this past year, Pace was a really good example. They got a lot of wins early, and then they played some of the tougher teams later on in the district. But you win a lot early. You get those games under your belt. Gives you some breathing room at the end. But if it's flipped, I know you guys had a tough stretch of games there. But it seemed like it was a tough stretch of games every week. You had Mission Veterans. It seemed like every team was good this past year. La Jolla, Palmview, and then Rio Grande City. They were all good this year.
Yeah. No, we had a couple of, it's part of the game. Sometimes, things don't go your way. The ball doesn't roll your way. We had 2 straight games where we lost by a total of 4 points. We lost to Pace by 3 points and I'm over it, so I'm not complaining about it. And I've talked to Coach Pardo about it, but not that we laughed about it, but we know how crucial it was there at the, I guess you can call it a third to last play of the game. It was 3rd and long. We throw a fade route, and it's a touchdown. But the gentleman, unfortunately, called him out of bounds after watching film. And Coach Pardo letting me know, Coach, he was in. I said, I know. My AD was in that same corner. And it's unfortunate. It's part of it. The following week, we score with no time on the clock to try to tie it up with Palmview. We go to kick the extra point. We get a bad snap, and we lose by 1 point on the last play of the game. So it's part of it. To me, it's growing pains being crucial for us. But at the same time, these kids got to go through it, and they made them better players and understood how important it is. Key thing for that, a lot of those kids are coming back. So hopefully that stung them a little bit, and they understand now how those 2 losses could have easily put us in the playoffs if they're converted into wins. But again, it's part of the game. Things happen. But it allows my kids to see how close we were to making a dent in our district last year and actually trying to view for that playoff spot.
For sure. And going back to that Palmview game, as bad as the bobbled snap sounds, Kevin Garcia picked it up and still had a chance.
Correct.
He almost converted on that play for 2. So I mean, it was very close. I remember I covered that game. And
okay.
I was just like, it was either going to be y'all's night or it wasn't. At the end of the game, the snap was bobbled, but luckily your quarterback's your holder. You had a chance there, and it was a really great game. Everybody, you got to remember, Palmview was a really great team. That's a great team. Probably one of the best running teams in the valley, numbers wise, the state.
Definitely. No, talk to Maggie all the time, and we had two back-to-back tough games. The year before that, we lost to them. I can't remember the exact number. I'm gonna guess 4 or 5 points. The year before, same thing. We had the ball at the end. We just couldn't finish the last drive to try to tie it or try to get the win. I'm sorry. So for some reason, these kids have lived. They buy into what we're telling them, and I don't think we had a game last year, especially where we went into the game thinking, man, we gotta be very careful. We don't know what's gonna happen. We knew that our players were gonna go out there and compete and give us a chance to come out with a W that night. And that's kind of how I feel coming up this season. That's why I'm excited that we're gonna have an opportunity to hopefully get this season in. I have a handful of kids that have been starting for 3 years. You mentioned Kevin, 4 years, so we're excited about it, and hopefully things work out for us.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the makeup of your team. Obviously, your cornerstone there is everybody knows Kevin Garcia.
Correct.
Can play a lot of different positions. But he's your quarterback. But probably when he goes to school, he's going to be one of those athlete kids, and I've seen a lot of those kids go and have a lot of success. He's obviously the cornerstone of your team. Everybody's known that. Everybody's been waiting for him to get older since he was a freshman, and him
Correct.
coming on. So he had a really great season. But who are we surrounding them with here? Chat us up about that.
We got Joey Saldana, who's going to be a third-year varsity player. He spot played his sophomore year, but he started for us last year. He'll be our tailback. And then we have two very experienced receivers coming back, which is Brandon Reta. He was our leading receiver last year. And then we have Gabriel Garcia. He was our athlete. You talk about Kevin being an athlete, and Kevin, by all means, is one of our top players. We have a kid, Gabriel, who we put anywhere and everywhere, defense, offense, and he makes an impact on both sides of the ball. I'm going to try to use him more on offense this year, but I know Coach Gomez, my defensive coordinator, I already have some packages for him. But offensive line, we got 3 guys coming back out of the 5, so that's going to help. And then we got 2 new receivers that are going to step in, and then a fullback that spot played since his sophomore year. So we have and people know, so there's no reason to say no. We have a lot of kids coming back that either have started from last year or got a lot of playing time. So we're excited about that. And if you want to flip it over real quick, we have 2 defensive linemen coming back. One of the linebackers is coming back, and 3 out of the 4 defensive backs are returning as well. Mm-hmm. So we have a bevy of kids coming back that either played last year, spot play that is, or started. So we're excited about what we got coming up, and hopefully this pandemic won't hurt us too much, and we'll be ready to rock and roll once we get the go-ahead from our district.
Yeah, and then looking at your zone, I talked about this at length with a lot of other coaches. Just you look at all athletics. I feel Brownsville has been on an uptrend the last few years, but especially in football, it seems like every team, especially when they play each other, very competitive games, very great football games, and then we're going to see a lot of that from this year's zone play. And those games, I mean, you guys play each other every year, but now you guys are in a specific zone along with bringing in Wesco, which is another great team. So it just kind of seems like every week you're just gonna have a grinded out kind of game. Just talk about that. The close knit rivalries that you share in Brownsville, and now probably being elevated a little bit with the zone play.
Correct. So like you mentioned there, for some reason, I mean, not for some reason, it's like anything else. You're going up against your brothers, and a lot of these kids know each other, as you know. And they've competed since the junior high days. If you want to go further back to Pee Wee and when they played football then, but that rivalry stays on. For our kids, Porter specific, like I said, we have one feeder school, so they faced all those kids. They didn't have the opportunity to team up with another junior high, but it doesn't matter what their record is. It's cliche to say that, but it's the truth. And you can look back at the scores within Brownsville and how close most of those games are. Like I said, I mentioned pace and how tough it is when we play them, but we've been very competitive with them. And that goes back to what I said. That's a playoff team 3 years in a row, man. That's a tough ball club right there. But for some reason, our kids get up and play against them. Same thing with Brownsville veterans. Lopez, they're down the street, battle Southmost. That the records go out the window there. It doesn't matter what the record is. The kids are going to get fired up for that game. And then you're going to throw in the spin, that's Brownsville. And then you throw in West Local East. And all our kids in Brownsville knows from West Local East, and all respect to them, they win over there. So our kids are excited about the opportunity to go up against a program like that as well, throwing them in the mix. So, our kids are ready to go when they play Brownsville. And I think the same will be said when they play West Local East, just the respect that they have for them, and they want to prove themselves as well.
Awesome, Coach. Well, yeah, we're eager to see your Cowboys. I know the last couple of years, especially since you guys joined. I mean, you mentioned you joined the same year Coach Pardo did, but definitely a lot of turnaround. I mean, it's been you've been in a lot of tough districts. I mean, sometimes the record isn't indicative of how you guys are playing, but definitely, a lot of the culture has changed there at Porter. More kids are anxious, and you hear it in the community, and it's been great to see some of the success you guys have had the last couple of years, and we definitely look forward to seeing how the team fares this year. Once again, we're expecting big things from you guys, so it'll be fun.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I get that a lot, and it's one of those deals where you don't know how to take that compliment, right? That you hear all the right things, and the word is out, and the kids are doing much better, and everybody sees the program growing. At the end of the day, as coaches and as players, as Mike, and that's why I wanted to have this season. I feel like they've worked too hard to not have an opportunity to prove themselves. They've gone through the growing pains with me, and I want them to have some success. And I'm really excited about the opportunity that we're going to have to hopefully have this season and let those kids go out on top and, see that all their hard work that's paid off for these seniors coming out.
For sure, Coach. Everybody, you heard it here. All eyes on the Cowboys. Let's see what they got. It's going to be a very fun district. All eyes on that zone as well. It's going to be fun. A lot of talented kids and a lot of good teams, and the other zone as well with all the McAllen schools and so on. So, Coach, I just want to say thank you for being here today and giving me a little bit of your time this afternoon.
Not a problem. Thanks, Marcus, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. And you guys keep it here. This is going to be the end of our Monday slate. Keep it tuned, and then we'll let you guys know when we're going to have more shows here this week. But follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere you do your social media. If you want to catch all our live content, you can do it there on Facebook and Twitter. Catch our live replays also on YouTube, Roku Network, and Apple TV. So check us out. Make sure to follow it. That's Real Sports Live. And once again, I want to thank Porter coach Carlos Uresti for joining me today. And everybody, just have a great day. See you later, Coach.
Later. Thank you.